Thank you for joining me once again. This is my update regarding a massive missiles and drones attack that was launched by Russia on Ukraine in the early hours of this morning, the 30th of October 2025. This attack covered every single inch of Ukrainian territories, unlike the past few attacks Russia launched, where they focused on one particular region or concentrated on one particular area. This time around, everywhere in Ukraine was attacked, from the east, from the north, from the south, from the Midwest, the north, south, or whatever you want to call it, all the way to the western part of Ukraine, near Poland, was heavily bombarded by Russia. This was also indicated in the map that was published, the flight of the missiles and drones map that was published today by Russian Federation. This attack focused more on the western part of Ukraine. If you remember, in the last two previous attacks that was launched by Russia, they did not touch the western part of Ukraine. For some reason, they must have received some form of intelligence or something coming through from the western part of Ukraine, and they decided to focus all the attacks. About 70% of the attack that was launched this morning focused on the western part of Ukraine. The big deal in this attack was that 4 thermal power plants were destroyed by Russia overnight and the early hours of this morning in that attack on Ukraine. 4 thermal power plants were destroyed, and they are the Dobrotiv thermal power plant, I'll leave that in the subtitle, in Lviv Oblast of Ukraine, was destroyed. The Bostinin thermal power plant, located in Ivano-Frankivsk, was destroyed. The Lazinska thermal power plant was also destroyed. That is located in Vinnytsia region of Ukraine. And I suppose Russia is making a statement. In other words, no more talks, no more slowing down, no more messing around. It is going to be war all the way, full on and total capitulation of Ukraine. This attack that happened was a response to the so-called 12-point peace plan that was drafted by the European Union and Ukraine. If you remember, I told you a couple of days ago, Zelenskyy made a statement that himself and the European leaders were drafting an urgent ceasefire plan. You remember that video, right? Those of you that follow me when I make videos, you will remember that video when Zelenskyy made a statement that himself and the EU leaders were drafting an urgent ceasefire plan to stop the war in Ukraine. In that statement, Zelenskyy also said he was very certain that Vladimir Putin would not accept the drafted ceasefire plan, even before it was drafted. And everybody keep wondering, why would he say that? And I said in that video, let's wait and see what is included in that drafted plan that made Zelenskyy said Vladimir Putin would not accept it. Well, that plan was announced late night yesterday, and this morning Russia responded to the plan, the so-called 12-point peace plan. And the response from Russia seems to be loud and clear. No deal. That is what it meant, because this morning Russia unleashed a barrage of drones and missiles all over Ukraine. Zelenskyy himself said it. Vladimir Putin would never accept that plan, even before it was drafted. You remember that, right? So, what exactly is included in this 12-point peace plan that was put forward by the European leaders and Zelenskyy? Let's talk about it one after the other, okay? Number 1, it says ceasefire should begin after both countries accept the plan. That is, both Ukraine and both Russia, once they accept the plan, a ceasefire must kick in straight away. Number 2, freezing the current front line would go into effect immediately. Number 3, monitoring to start immediately under the leadership of the United States of America. Number 4, Russia and Ukraine to agree a non-aggressive pact between one another. Number 5, Zaporizhia nuclear plant must be handed over to a third party and then returned back to Ukraine. Number 6, cancellation of symbolic sanctions against Russia would start immediately. Number 7, agreement on territories will start to take effect. They will start talking about it. Number 8, Ukraine to receive international security guarantee, but they did not specify what is included or would be included in that security guarantee. Number 9, Ukraine and Russia to enhance mutual respect and understanding. Number 10, they should start recognizing they should start the recognition of the administration of territories currently taken by Russia. Number 11, gradual lifting of sanctions against Russia. Number 12, Ukraine and Russia to agree on compensations while the West unfreeze Russian frozen asset. In other words, Russia has to compensate Ukraine. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see from this so-called 12-point peace plan that was drafted by the EU and Zelenskyy, this is an ultimatum to Russia. No winning side in any form of conflict would ever accept such a drafted plan. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying some of the words in the 12-point peace plan sound okay, it's okay, it makes sense, but it doesn't, because they are literally giving Russia an ultimatum. No winning side in any conflict, nowhere in the world will ever accept such a plan. The European leaders pretty much are giving Russia instructions and command on what to do, what not to do, what Russia should return, and what Russia should keep. That is exactly what they did in this 12-point peace plan. Even though it sounds a little bit, okay, it sounds good, but it is not good. It is a terrible thing. Russia will never, ever accept it. And it is now obvious why Zelenskyy said Vladimir Putin will never accept that drafted plan, even before they drafted it. Ladies and gentlemen, have a look at this 12-point peace plan and tell me, do you think Russia will ever accept that? Do you think any country, any military-powered country, with the momentum Russia is gaining right now, do you think any country will ever accept that? And in regard to the missile strike that took place today, what is going to follow on from here? Because I'm hearing rumors are saying, according to Zelenskyy, he claimed Russia used a total of almost 800 drones and missiles to strike Ukrainian power plant and Ukrainian surviving energy infrastructure. Ukraine is currently in blackout. Russia is not allowing Ukraine to, they're not giving Ukraine any more breathing space. And this is a terrible thing. But let's talk about this 12-point peace plan. Why did the European Union actually think, the European leaders actually think Vladimir Putin is going to accept anything they put forward when their God, Donald Trump, is not involved? If you look at that 12-point peace plan, there are some certain points I want to discuss with you that is really, in fact, it is a no, 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 all day long. For ceasefire to begin immediately. Why should ceasefire begin? Start talking about the end of the conflict and then ceasefire will kick in, right? As if that is not bad enough. They said the monitoring of the frozen front line will commence immediately under the supervision of the United States of America. Una dey smoke igbo. Well, Russia is fighting because they don't want NATO at the backyard. Now they are trying to say NATO should go and be the one to supervise the front line. If they really wanted to appease Russia, to tempt Russia, they could have said China. They could have said maybe India. They could have said maybe South Korea or some country that is neutral or friendly to Russia. Russia probably would have listened. But the United States, it will not happen. It will never ever happen. Now, the biggest one that again is going to be a no, never, no, is the fact that they said Russia should hand over the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant to a third party that would then hand it over to Ukraine. I rest my case. What do you guys think?